Hello, and welcome to Getting to Know TumbleBooks and TumbleMath. These are two great little collections for kindergarten through sixth grade that have a lot of flexibility of how you can share and use these when you're introducing a unit, when you're doing a story time in the library. Some of you will be teachers, some of you will be librarians, media specialists, public libraries and school libraries, and you are welcome to use these to introduce lessons, to create your own scavenger hunts, or do just a lot of different things with these two collections. So what I'm going to show you first, I'm going to go ahead and change this screen out to our main screen for see if I can get, oh, don't want that document. I'm going to just jump in here so I can pull up some of the screens for you. Just to go ahead and jump in. Here comes another admit there. So I'm just going to go to the Discus page. Some of you may be at public libraries and you're actually going through your public library links, which is fine. Just want to show you a quick way to find them through the Discus website. And I'm going to try, if you all can mute your microphones, I'll try to get out there and catch people as they come in. But if you notice that yours is on, please mute it. And we'll certainly open it up toward the end. If you prefer to ask me questions with the microphone, we can do that. We can do that as well. So we are going to cover both of the two platforms, and the easiest way to see where you are when you're in these is to actually access through the Discus website here. And you're able to go to A to Z resources or Discus Kids, either one, and you can just choose vendor TumbleBooks, and you'll see both of the collections for the Discus Kids here. So we have the TumbleBooks and the TumbleMath. There are a lot of similarities between the two. Primarily the content obviously is different, but TumbleBooks has over 1,400 books in the collection, and you will see here across the top the layouts for both TumbleBooks and for your TumbleMath are very similar with a tab system across the top. TumbleBooks has quite a variety of types of books for the K through 6 student. And you can see across the top, there are animated storybooks in that first tab, read-alongs, which are a little bit more advanced, that begin to introduce them to chapters and breaks in the reading. The ebooks are going to be even more advanced, and some of these are going to have an audio feature where the book can be read aloud as well. The graphic novels that you see in the center, those are going to be your PDF titles. So those are just pages that you scroll through and read. I'll go ahead and show you the graphic novels because they're really different from most of the other books, just as whenever you open them and how they're accessed. So this graphic novel, for instance, on Geronimo Stilton here, when you click read online for it, it's actually the student controls the browsing and the reading as they read along. So this is really suitable to a lot of the mobile devices because it's just very linear going down as they read through the graphic novel there. That one is really the most static, or the only static format of the books that we have. The others all work within software. So they're all within a different software piece, so that you would have the audio and the video side of the books. I'm just checking quickly to see if we have more participants before I move this screen. So we have now about 25 minutes left to cover these two collections. Obviously, I won't be able to go into every detail in my little planned spiel here, but if you have a question, please do. If there's something I do not cover and you wonder what it does, or you have a question, please feel free to ask that. But I want to make sure I get kind of the overall picture. So there are over 14 Tumble books in this collection for K through 6. The storybooks on the far left are the animated storybooks. They have playlists, as you see here, that the vendor has broken out for you. So the new books are listed across the top. Notice some of these are just music. So if you are wanting to work with pre-K or kindergartners, there's entire music collections with bingo and some of the different songs that you might want to sing along with them. But then also, as you progress across the side of these playlists, there are also arrows for you to continue to view the rest of the list. For instance, the award winners here, alphabet and reading related books, the early readers, they're kind of easily grouped together. So if you're doing something in your library, you're doing a story time and you want related stories, this can sometimes be very helpful for you there. Back to school, when you're getting ready for introducing back to school, these are grouped together with those that would be appropriate for that as well. So you can kind of see fables and fairy tales. That was great for last year's summer reading, particularly. And that was the theme last year. So you notice there's just a lot that are grouped by humor, historical fiction. So this is one way that you and your students and your parents can actually browse the collection just to get a good broad overview of the different topics that are available here. Oftentimes we'll jump right in and start searching and may not be aware of all the great options that you have. The Tumble tunes here are those that I mentioned that are for the younger children, that are more the music kinds of songs, and that sometimes helps to give a little break for them. I'm going to scroll up to the top and show you another piece. When we go into the storybooks, you'll see that they are animated. I'm just going to click here to find an example for you. I had the example of one of the new books, which actually has, see if I can pull that one. I'll just click more here to find it quickly. This one is one of the newest books, Margot and the Moon Landing, that is here. Each time you enter your books, you're going to see, when you click on a title, you're going to see that there's a different options for quizzes, for lesson plans, and other supplementary materials for that particular title. For this one, we have quizzes available. But when I click to read online here, this opens into the Tumble Reader. So some of the books that you'll be using will actually open into the Tumble Reader, and you're able to then allow it to play automatically through if you want to play it for a whole class. You can also click on the red M button if you want it to just be a manual advance. So let's say, for instance, you're wanting to do a story time, maybe in your library, or you're wanting to just read one of the books in the classroom. And maybe you want to pause and have your students interact with it and talk about the colors, ask questions about the characters, etc. You can do this manually, and you can mute it so that they can take turns reading out loud as well. I'm going to just click Start Playing so that you can see how this works. And you'll be able to see the animated story, and then it's read aloud here.
Her mother tried to convince her to read different books about robots or princesses, but she soon gave up. Margot was only interested in one.
So you can see that we can actually change it to manual here. The animation still moves, but I can manually turn the pages with these forward and back buttons here as I go. And then if you want to advance it again, you can just click back on automatic and let it continue to read aloud there. You also have a pause button if it's the automatic. So the yellow pause button on the left is where you would be able to manipulate and use that. And it's always best when you're through with a book and you want to exit out, it's always best to use the little red X in the Tumble reader so that you go back down to the level of the book you're actually still in the software there. You're not actually closing out a whole window. So that's one of the first storybooks. That's the type of books you're going to find in TumbleMath as well. There are about 300 titles in TumbleMath, and all of those will be storybooks, picture books. There are no e-books, read-alongs, and other formats there like you have here in TumbleBooks. So as we progress across the top, you'll see the read-alongs are going to be a little bit more advanced as far as the reader. So notice that whenever I go to this title, this one in the read-alongs, just click on it here, looks like a different format. And you'll be able to see within this one, let's see if I can get this back here. You'll be able to see that the student can just read along here, read the book themselves. They can also open the chapter menu and view chapters, go to specific chapters if they've maybe read through chapter 2 and want to pick up on chapter 3. And also within the read-alongs, there is a button on the bottom left that allows them to play the audio piece. So they can actually have these books read aloud as well if they want to hear it and read along with the narrator. So you can see how these levels do kind of progress as we go here into each different tab. Across the bottom of your read along, you have a place for a bookmark. You can use the bookmark and the My Notes, but they are tied to cookies. So if a student make some notes in this on their Google Chromebook, but then they go home to a laptop and pull it up, it obviously won't stay across devices, but it will keep their notes if they're on the same device and they haven't emptied their cookies there. There's also text options to enlarge the font if that is more suitable for your students to use as well. So that is an example of the ebook format. I'm sorry, the read along. And then the ebooks are even a little more advanced. So you can see these advanced readers. We have chapter books here, advanced readers here. I'm just going to pick up Pinocchio for you to see Pinocchio, and I'm going to open him up. And that is going to be the same kind of software. But notice in the ebook, in this particular one, there is no audio. So that will vary by title as to whether it's a read along or it's an ebook. Did somebody have a question? You're welcome to unmute yourself if someone had a question. Okay.
Is content available 24/7 to students at school and at home, or is there a cutoff time at night?
Yes, 24/7, and the whole class can read a book. So if you link a book to, a Word document, and you want everybody, maybe you have a little lesson where you want everybody to read the same book and answer 3 questions, you can actually share that link with them via email or through a Word doc. And I'll show you in a moment how to do that. But they are available to multiple users, just really unlimited users at one time. Thank you for that question. So we already kind of took a look at the graphic novels. There are some great nonfiction as well here, and you can see, I'll actually pull one up in a second, but the nonfiction are actually all across different history, geography areas as well. I'm just going to pull this Ticket Around the World because it's really a very robust one here. You can see the add to favorites. Again, if you add that to favorites, it will be tied to your cookies. But there are also quizzes available, and every book has a little book report section so that a student can complete a book report and be able to print out the book report for grades K through 3 or grades 4+ there also. So that's something that comes with each book. You'll also notice along the right, let me see if I can, I'm going to try to mute everyone. I think I've got you all muted. So you can see that that's kind of the content that you have. But the other piece that I want to show you is whenever we open and play this video, Ticket Around the World, this is an excellent one for geography, and it takes them around to different countries. And this is one that I would recommend for the content area of geography because it really has a lot of packed with a lot of good information, and it's a lot of great animation as well. You can also fast forward these across the bottom, just like you do with a YouTube video. So if you only wanted to cover a particular section in a class, with this, you can kind of advance it forward to the section that you would want to cover on that piece. So the other thing that I want to show you are there are videos that you can use and pull up and link to as well. If you're reading about a koala bear in a storybook and you want to actually show a video of a koala bear, you want to pull any of these other videos, those are also linkable. And notice too, the language learning tab. The language learning tab includes French books and Spanish books. So if you want, and several of our books actually, the ones in Spanish are also available in the English title as well. So that's another piece if you want to share that with English language learners. Some people even for 5th and 6th grade even use these for the young children learning Spanish as well. So those are titles to be aware of. And then there are also additional playlists that are just by the time of how long each book runs. So if you were in the library and you wanted to, maybe you had 10 minutes left and you wanted to be able to pull one that way, you could as well. Notice also across the top, and this is going to be very useful to you as educators and librarians, the index at the top is an index for all of the titles. And you are able to actually link to any of these titles. For instance, if you wanted to link to a Ticket Around the World that we just opened, you would click on the book ID next to it, and you'll see the HTTPS, you'll see the URL that goes with that book. That's what you could actually copy and email to a parent. You could email to another colleague. You can email it to yourself if you know, I want to use this book later in the library, or I want to use it in my classroom. So that once you click on that link from your email, you'll go directly to this page with the book. And that's how you can link it for your students as well, to be able to click on and read the book. And I have a handout about that as well that I'd be glad to send out to you all just to refresh your memory about linking. That same index type link works also in your in your TumbleMath collection. And you'll see that listed out in a moment. There are also at the top, the Common Core that you see here. You can actually browse through the lists to see the different grade levels, kindergarten, grades 1, grades 2, grades 3 here. So if you just want to pull maybe a list of books that tie to a particular Common Core standard there, those are all sorted out for you well there. And then any quizzes that go along with those are also available. So quizzes and lesson plans are often also available with the different books that you have there. So that's something that can also increase your usability with the books on that piece. And you're also able to not only browse the playlist that I showed you, browse by your index piece that I showed you here, but you're also able to do a direct Tumble search here on the top right. So you would be able to go in, for instance, if you wanted that particular title, if you wanted the Ticket Around the World title, you could begin typing it and it will let you sort and take it, take you out to that title. If you're just wanting to see maybe in general what might be part of geography, the books that are part of geography, you can do by subject. You can also search by author there. So you have several different access points to be able to locate those books and titles. And that is true as well. If we go back to our Discus Kids page here, and I'm just going to make sure that you're able to see that. Yes. So back on our Discus Kids pages where we had sorted, I'm going to go into TumbleMath really quickly here and show you the layout is very similar. So it's easily accessed by both parents and students. Let me see if I can get that participant window under control over there. But notice instead of different types of books, these are all going to be picture books and storybooks that are relevant to math concepts. So some of these books are going to be stories that happen to include some in the plot line, some different aspects of math. Some of them are actually just books about math. So if I go into multiplication here in this little category, I can view all of the books in the list here, or I can also sort by title or view by detail. So I can either look with the book covers or the titles. And then notice multiply on the fly here. It's also going to link to those standards. It'll tell you the keywords about the book and then the Commons Core standard that is there. Notice with these, we have the vendor has had teachers create lesson plans around each book. So you will have a lesson plan and quizzes for each title in this collection. So this is the Teddy Bear Math book. As you can see there with these various pieces. The other thing that's great about this one is the quiz portal. So not only do you have the quizzes listed by Common Core standard, but also you can view them by the TumbleMath quiz portal here. If you're just interested in looking by grade level, for instance, kindergarten counting, kindergarten number sense, you can continue to scroll through or page down, whichever you want there. But grade 2, measurement and data for grade 2 levels. Grade 4 here, we have measurement and data, geometry, etc. So you're able to click again just by browsing by grade level, if that's how you prefer to browse these in the quiz portal. So the TumbleMath quiz portal is going to be by grade level first, and then breaking it out by math concept and standard. And then your quiz portal Common Core is going to have all of the standards broken out. You have your kindergarten, your grade 1, and these are just strictly by standard. So you would be able to click on those and access it that way. And then notice on the top right, your math search is very similar to your TumbleSearch. You don't have as many access points, but you can actually search by the category. So if you just want to search with those that have to do with division, for instance, you can search by title there. So if you did want to do the multiply on the fly title, as you begin to type them in, you'll have those choices to be able to pull those up. And you will have the index like we showed you in the TumbleBooks, where you are able to actually link out to those to the titles that you're interested in. This view is actually sometimes easier for you as a librarian, as a media specialist, as a teacher, because you are able to quickly see which are edition, which are finance books, etc. And you can either click to view the book, or you can actually just go ahead and link and pull the link to the book to be able to copy that and link to the title, just like you are with the TumbleBooks titles. So I'm going to pause for just a moment there. I know I covered a lot. And see if anyone has any question, if you want to type it in chat, or if you would like to unmute yourself and just ask me. I'll be glad to address any questions here. Great, thank you, Shelley. Yes, these are great series. They're very easily used. There's actually a guide under how to use. So if you're wanting to know more specifics, you can also share this TumbleMath guide with your parents. You can open it up. It's just a PDF that you can save, and one for the classroom that will go over some good tips on usage there. The same is true if we go back to our TumbleBooks. There's also a how to tumble there that gives you a lot of details and sort of reminders of what I've shown you today, where you can go to how to use TumbleBooks and be able to share some of that information out to your parents as well, and to your teachers. So this one is nice in the TumbleBooks how to use, because it actually breaks out for you the different themes there of the different types of books. And you can see there under our categories where it talks about, again, the storybooks, the read-alongs, the ebooks. So that's kind of good there if any of you are needing to be refreshed. Maybe you aren't able to look at this for a week or two and you want to be able to go back in and see the different book types and information about them. Was there a question? I didn't see a question there in the chat, specifically a question. I will go ahead and post this. I'm going to post this in the chat. I'm going to post a link for you for a survey for this session. We are partially funded by a federal grant, and we are required to get feedback for that purpose. And they actually give us certain questions we need to ask, but we also have open questions, which are very useful to me as well, to be able to see more of what your feedback about the session itself, and also other types of Discus webinars that you would like to see offered. So I appreciate when you get a chance to be able to click that link in chat and respond to that survey. If you do not have time now, I will be sending the survey and the recording back out to you as a follow-up to this session. Were there any questions from anyone on that piece? Someone did once ask me about the Spanish books. The books in Spanish are read in Spanish. So not only, is the text Spanish, but the audio is also Spanish. And one of the other questions that I've received about the TumbleBooks specifically too is with the puzzles and games that you see on the far right tab that are on the screen. These games, some of these games actually tie in directly to the books, and that's what you would see when you open a book and you see listed under the title all the different supplementary pieces. So those games are the same games that are going along with the books. So if I were to go to TumbleSearch here and search on that title about The Bears We Know, see if I can, and I click on that title, that's where you're going to find the related games, quizzes, etc. for that book. So we've come up to the top of the hour. Did anybody have a question, or are you all good? Will you be able to send us a one-pager or some other type of resource page as a handout to the teachers? Yes, I do. I do have a one-pager for the for how you can link your titles through index. I have that, and I can also send you just a real basic one that kind of it goes as an overview of what's in it and what each type of book is, if that would be helpful for you, Crystal, there. And I'll be sure to link that to the follow-up email that I send you all. Okay, well, I appreciate your time this afternoon. On Thursday of this week, we will be doing K through 6 elementary, I'm sorry, K through 5 elementary math resources on Thursday of this week, and that might be of interest to you as well. If any of you don't have time to attend, but you still want to be able to get the link, you are always welcome to go ahead and register, and I do send out the recordings after the session. Great, thank you. Thank you, Lexi. Great. I hope that this gives you all another tool in your toolbox to share out with your students and families and your teachers. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll be following up in the email.